Hey guys, what's up? Game Pizza Boy here, host of the Pizza Party. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing great. I'm sorry I haven't been making videos in quite a while. I just been very busy with a lot of stuff. I've been doing helping out with an errand for my parents, trying to get that taken care of, and I also went to visit my niece's birthday, so that's why I've been absent for quite a while, like 2 weeks in a row right there within the weekend. So yeah, pardon me with everything happening, but do not worry. This will all be clear up very soon or later, and I can be able to get back on track with you guys. But I have time at least to do a video with you guys for sure, because I want to kind of go over my thoughts on this situation right now for Overwatch 2 and kind of get my thoughts on it. You could say it's kind of like a little bit of a rant, you could say, but it's more of just me I want to discuss. But I will give my opinion on what the situation and give all my explanation on it as much as I can. So let's get right into it. But before we begin, as always, like the video, comment down below and tell me your thoughts on it. Subscribe if you want to show your support to the channel, and go check out all my socials down below if you want to keep in touch with everything going on for Pizza Party. I'll actually also be live tomorrow at 12 p.m. CST on Tuesday, so go check me out on twitch.tv/GamePizzaBoy. Link will be in the description below. With that being said, let's get right into it now. All right, so now to discuss this right now, what I want to feel about the situation is that, as you know, Overwatch 2 has been getting itself in quite the problem right now lately with its recent announcements and stuff, and I want to kind of go over real quick on these issues. So first of all, as you guys know, since Overwatch 2's announcement back in November 1st, 2019, which is when it was announced, of course. So it was back on November 1st, 2019, obviously. It was a big deal for a lot of us, because for a lot of people who played Overwatch 1 back in the day, because a lot of people were waiting for the announcements of some big content drops coming out very soon for Overwatch 1. People have been absent with nothing at all lately. Of course, no new heroes, no new maps, mostly things being repeated from events and stuff like that. People were still waiting for something fresh and new for Overwatch 1 to come out. And then on November 1st, 2019, the surprise big happened when Overwatch 2 was announced. And it was a big deal for a lot of people. And people were questioning why this is even happening. But people were also excited knowing that we're at least getting some big new stuff for the Overwatch franchise and for its community very much. And there was a lot of stuff that was announced, of course. New heroes, new maps, many things that will be fixed up, and for sure, new things that were really going to be updated for the game very much. And while that's all typical, very enough as it is, very much the most big one of them all that was going to help sustain it even further to it being like a sequel, to give it its light right there, to make its meaningful moment, to make an impact for it being a sequel, was the fact that it was announced there was going to be a PVE mode full of really big stuff right there very much. So if you don't know, basically Overwatch 2 was going to have its PVE mode basically, and basically the mode was going to have a lot of big exciting stuff right here. This includes obviously right here on the Verge, as they announced, they have a lot of stuff like such as a talent tree, which you would be able to level up and grind in the PvE mode for your heroes and make them stronger than ever, give them cool, unique stuff, and just make them powerful. It was going to have a big story mode and all that stuff that was going to be very big right there, everything like that. And not only that, it was going to be a very amazing, shocking mode for a lot of people that a lot of us were waiting for the most, that people were really excited for the most. But however, though, once the game released sometime, obviously in sometime in like 2022, obviously, and we were like waiting for hearing some big news on it. Obviously, Overwatch 2 being released on October 4th, 2022. People were waiting for it. They released it, but there was no sign, of course, of the PvE mode, obviously, that people were excited for the very most. Instead, they just released just the PvP mode with all the new heroes and stuff like that, and we basically were all waiting for the PvE mode to be released. So people waited and enjoyed everything else, and there was a lot of good stuff that happened throughout the release of the game that helped improve upon patches and fixes that were hoping to improve the game, although there have been some more issues lately, of course, typical, but obviously it was some nice cool stuff. Some new heroes, including Sojourn, Kiriko, Junker Queen, Ramacha, and Lifeweaver, and we will be expecting even also some new heroes coming up, which I'll read through this roadmap in just a moment, of course. A lot of new maps to enjoy, some new events, some fun little modes, and hopefully just something to enjoy to keep everyone up and running with the Overwatch franchise. But we still didn't hear much for the PvE mode at all. People were still waiting for anything from that mode and all that cool stuff, until it was announced recently that by some of the developers that were talking about in an interview that they will not be that big PvE mode anymore. It's been scrapped and canceled. So basically, this mode with all that stuff that was Hero Town, stuff like that, gone, scrap. Instead, portions of the PvE mode that was planned for this are going to be pushed into throughout mostly PvP and other related events, which are going to be discussed here on this roadmap, which I'm going to go through right now. So Season 5 will first include, obviously, the Quest Watch limited event, which will probably be like a mystical fantasy theme, obviously one. So they're doing something like that. Mischief and Magic, which will be probably the name of the event. A cinematic reveal, which will probably be showing their plans for adding some cool cinematic debuts, probably for new heroes and stuff like that. Summer Games event will be back again as well. And 5v5 mini comp series, creative workshop mode also being made as well. And On Fire returns, which surprised me that I'm surprised to me why that wasn't even included in the first place for Overwatch 2 in the beginning, but On Fire is back again, of course. Season 6, story missions will be introduced as well, so bits of that probably will be included as well. A new support hero, Flashpoint, a new map, the single-player PvE hero mastery modes you can do for your heroes, the fire range, I guess, being updated, if I remember, a player progression system, the Overwatch anniversary, and much more. And for Season 7 beyond, at least we know is that there will be reworks for Roadhog and Sombra, a lore codex, which will probably be some other way to make up for lore besides the PvE mode being scrapped. Competitive mystery heroes returns, the cinematic debuts, a bunch of fanfare modes returning, a new hero mastery missions for multiplayer, a new control map and winter event, a new collaborative event that will be a limited time with a limited time mode that will be happening. Who knows what that collaboration is going to be, and a new tank hero to be expected. So a lot of good content to look forward to for Overwatch 2, but this, unfortunately, is not making a lot of people happy as it is because of the fact that Overwatch 2's PvE mode has been completely scrapped. And even though with everything that's been mentioned, including Jared mentioning again, a lot of the PvE content will be coming this year still to make up for that, to make up for the hero mode and talents being cut off. The story missions, new cinematics, co-op events, single-player hero missions will be on the way, of course. But unfortunately, that whole announcement was the last straw for a lot of fans. That was the last straw for a lot of people. And I will say this for anyone. You can still enjoy this game as much as you like. Keep enjoying it. Have fun if you really do so, even despite this stuff. But to me and a lot of people, I can agree upon that this is a downgrade to what it's supposed to be, and because of many reasons. Because one is the fact that Overwatch 2 is definedly supposed to be a sequel. It's supposed to define itself as a sequel. Otherwise, it just looks like Overwatch 1 just plastered with a 2. And that's basically what this basically feels like. It basically feels like Overwatch 1 plastered with a 2. It really is. Because the fact that the main focus that they were promising upon is because there was going to be a PvE mode. Sure, there's a lot of new content that's been released, new heroes, which is fantastic, new maps, a lot of patch and fix stuff like that, a lot of changes, but that really is something that could have been added into Overwatch 1 long before. But instead, people waited, and they waited for something, and then it became a sequel. And with the PvE mode, people were excited for, which they promised, and then it got canceled. Sure, there will be PvE content. They're not getting rid of it all completely. Most of it's going to be bits and pieces of it spread out through the seasons, but that is still not the just of what people wanted. Which brings up to my point with, obviously, this article right here from May 19th. Right here, we're going to go through, that explains from game director Aaron Keller, so the game director right there, very much right there, who reflects on their initial ambitions for PvE, what led to the change of plans, and what the future holds for Overwatch 2. So I can discuss that a little bit, but then finish up with my topic about what I feel. So this is the topic right here, explaining everything. So director's take. Hey, y'all. It's been an emotional week in the world of Overwatch. A few days ago, we talked about our change in approach to PvE in Overwatch 2 and released a high-level roadmap for the year. We're really excited for everything that will be launching soon, but much of this discussion this week has been about how we're canceling PvE outright, which isn't accurate. So I want to take some time to discuss some of that with you here. When we announced Overwatch 2 in 2019, the idea for the game was centered around the PvE game we released last October, and on the PvE side, story missions and hero missions. Story missions focused on fast-paced co-op gameplay, as well as story, cinematics, and cutscenes that expand the world of Overwatch. Story missions tell a linear narrative about the heroes of Overwatch reuniting and battling the new Null Sector threat, pushing the story of Overwatch forward for the first time since our original game release. These missions take place on huge maps with new enemies and new cinematics. We will begin to release them in Season 6. The work done here is amazing and leaps and bounds above what we've built for PvE previously in our game, and I can't wait for our players to get their hands on them. We'll be sharing more details there in the coming weeks, including also hero missions or the hero mode that was planned. On the other hand, Encompass as an in-developed game mode that allowed players to upgrade individual heroes that through talent trees, providing a deeply replayable version of PvE in Overwatch 2. It was a really exciting concept, something that not only resonated with players, but that the team was passionate about and really dedicated to. This is the mode we're no longer moving forward with. To give you some context for this change, I'd like to talk about the past and the origins of Team 4. The Overwatch team was founded in the wake of a canceled game at Blizzard called Project Titan, which actually was a planned canceled hero FPS MMO game that was planned at the time. That game had many facades, but at its heart, it was an FPS MMO. The Overwatch team, especially at its inception, considered itself an MMO development team. As we transitioned away from the original concept and started creating Overwatch, we included plans into one-day return to that scope. We had a crawl, walk, and run plan. Overwatch was the crawl, a dedicated version of PvE was the walk, and an MMO was the run. It was built into the DNA of the team early on, and some of us considered that final game a true realization of the original version of Project Titan. When we launched Overwatch in 2016, we quickly started talking about what the next iteration could be. Looking back at that moment, it's now obvious that we weren't as focused as we should have been on a game that was a runaway hit. Instead, we stayed focused on a plan that was years old. Work began on the PvE portion of the game and steadily continued shifting more and more of the team to work on those features. Things rarely go as planned in game development. We struggled to find our rooting with the hero mission experience early on. Scope grew. We were trying to do many things at once and we lost focus. The team built some really great things, including hero talents, new enemy units, and early versions of missions, but we were never able to bring together all the elements needed to ship a polished, cohesive experience. We had an excited but gargantuan vision that we were continuously pulling resources away from the live game in an attempt to realize it. I can't help but look back on our original ambitions for Overwatch and feel like we used the slogan of crawl, walk, run to continue the march forward with a strategy that just wasn't working. We announced something audacious. Our players had high expectations for it, but we no longer felt like we could deliver it. We need to make an incredibly difficult decision, one we knew we would disappoint our players, the team, and everyone looking forward to hero missions. The Overwatch team understands this deeply. This represented years of work and emotional investment. They are wonderful, incredibly talented people and truly have a passion for our game and the work they do. Lastly, people have wondered why this announcement came at this time. After Overwatch 2 had launched, we started refining our plans for future seasons. As those plans grew, we tried to find ways to make all our ambitions fit together in a plan that we believed in. We couldn't, and we also knew that we couldn't go back to pulling people away from the live gaming service of that original version. So we made the difficult decision to cut hero missions and started planning for the future. From there, we need to update the vision for the game, gain confidence in our new direction, and roll out the changes of the team. To the team. The decision was the start of a long process, not the final piece of it. This has been hard for us, but as the director on this project, I have to do my best to make decisions that put the game and the community first, even when those decisions are disappointing. In that case, I had trouble pivoting away from a vision that wasn't working. And for that, I would like to apologize to our players and to our team. I'm sorry. We are focusing our efforts and our passion into making this game an ever-evolving experience. We are so committed to building many of these elements we talked about at BlizzCon 2019, including story missions that delve into the next chapter of the Overwatch universe, new types of co-op content we haven't yet shared, and new stories that we are planning to tell both in and out of the game. We're excited about this direction, and we can't wait for you to finally get to experience what we've been building. Overwatch was built from the ashes of Project Titan. It was a moment of metamorphosis for the team and the project, and something beautiful came out of it. This is another moment of change, and the future of Overwatch will be born out of it. Now, I gotta say, though, I will have to give credit for Aaron Keller for mentioning about this stuff. I think everything that was put into this to express everything that was happening is honestly really good. So good job to you, my man. You definitely help express everything pretty well, and I hear and understand every bit of what was going on and how passionate it is. And I will tell you this, that even though without this disappointment thing right now, I don't completely blame the devs completely on this. Honestly, I kind of blame mostly just the whole situation of the company itself and some of the executives above a lot more, honestly, than the devs. But even though they're part of this situation, which I have to put a little blame on that situation, I don't want to feel harsh on them because, again, stuff like this can happen in development. It can happen a lot. This is just something that nothing just goes as planned all the time. Nothing. There's no way to see when this is going to happen out of the blue and if it's going to work or not. So anything is possible or not. So it's usually a random moment right there that will happen. But let me talk about now quickly really be a little realistic about my situation, how I feel about this now. That even though, as Aaron was explaining everything, and to understand about the project that was being worked on in hand, it being canceled, and for the fact that even though with this being canceled, they did their best they could, and they tried everything they possibly can passionately to make this become a reality, and they still will include most of this content in some bits and pieces of it throughout most of the seasons to help make up for it. I unfortunately just don't think this is going to help make up for Overwatch 2 and get people at ease, including of its amazing dedicated fans, content creators, streamers, esports players, you name it. The situation, though, with Overwatch 2 is that it was pretty much made like a promise, I would say. It was made like a promise. Overwatch 1 was lacking of content for so long because these guys were probably working on something else behind the scenes, that being Overwatch 2 and the planned PvE mode and all the extra content we have, which most of that stuff could have been added before, like I said, in Overwatch 1, but got released instead to its sequel. But with the PvE mode being made and something that which people were asking for, people were thinking that this was the big deal, and it is. It was the big deal. Overwatch 2 and the announcement of the PvE mode that they were promising was the big thing that was going to hopefully help solidify Overwatch 2's sequel impact, to give it its name out there and to make it something that people would be able to continue playing from each side of the modes for many of its content for years to come. And while all the announcements right now from the roadmap and even still knowing that at least PvE content will be introduced still, just without the hero little level up stuff right there, as we all know that was going to be introduced, such as the hero talents and the hero mode itself, I don't think this is something that people are going to be able to continue for, honestly. Many players have expressed themselves of how disappointed they were in the development of this and how it is now just wiped from existence, making Overwatch 2 just null and void, basically, because Overwatch 2 was basically meant to be this a lot, to solidify it being a sequel. And as much as I painstakingly hate it, I'm very right on with the fans, many of the fans who are on this, because the fact is that I only got into Overwatch 2, especially just not just the fact that I wanted to give the game a try, because I played Overwatch 1 pretty late into the time. Like, it was gifted to me by one of my friends on Xbox, and I played it late, and I didn't play too much of it. But when I heard Overwatch 2 was happening, I wanted to give it a try. But obviously, knowing that I can't go back to Overwatch 1 now on my Xbox, probably for sure, because obviously with Overwatch 2 happening, I knew that I had to get on for this. And while I've had a lot of great moments with streaming this game, with so many amazing moments and making up the most of it as much as I could within my months playing it, I don't think I could really continue playing it further, because this game is incomplete. This game is basically incomplete with the lack that it was supposed to be promised for. I know, like I said, that they are saying that they are going to be releasing stuff, but how can you say this and make it sound like this will be all right, but the fans have been disappointed enough as it is, especially with both of the companies that are involved in this, Activision and Blizzard, who's already got a lot of controversies on their plate right now with everything that's been happening. And now with this situation happening now even more, it's completely lost the trust for a lot of people. And I'm pretty sure in due time, many of its content creators, streamers, its esports players, and dedicated players alike who just play the game for fun are probably going to leave this game. Now, I don't think it's going to be like people are going to be like all together going to lead the game a whole. A lot of people have voiced that say that despite all this shit, they're probably still going to play the game. Despite this stuff, they're going to wait for some of these PvE drops. They don't care about what happens. They might just don't give money to the developers. Just don't pay for the battle pass, stuff like that, which is fine. Their money, their decision. They will enjoy what it's being limited, and they're okay with it, and that is good. I think no one should disrespect these people who might still want to play the game. If you want to still play the game, go play the game. No one should tell you otherwise. And I won't do the same thing either. But for me, I'm not sure if I'll be playing this game any longer after a while there until Season 4 is over, when Season 5 rolls in. Because I enjoy this game a lot, and it still is enjoyable to me. But with a lot of us, including myself, who are waiting for this PvE mode to happen, and then it just getting washed away like that, it's something that a lot of us just don't think we want to continue playing and dedicating our time with. For a lot of us, I have took a break from many games before in many situations of these kind of many situations where it be content loss or game just canceling as a whole, shutting down, all that stuff. But I eventually come back to it in some forms. But I don't know how I feel about Overwatch 2 standards now with this happening. And I really love this game. This game is fun. I really been enjoying Overwatch 2. I've managed to make so many good moments. I've had a lot of good matches. I got a lot of good laughs with friends and with like a lot of good moments with this. It's a really fun game. I think Overwatch 2 is a really fun game, despite the fact with everything, people shitting on it, complete like hell and all that stuff, which I understand. I see it. I still really enjoy the game. But I rather enjoy a game that at least lives up to its point than literally play a game that's doesn't and then just keep going with it as if nothing's ever going to happen. Because like even despite the fact that we're getting these PvE modes like in many forms, whether it be just PvE content for these story bits, missions, and the single player hero mastery stuff, just all that, I don't think that's good enough to me. The hero mode, it was the big thing I was anticipating the most, especially with the talents and having a good story completely with that. And they promised it and they failed. At least they admit to it, which I'm happy for. But with everything that's going on for both of their companies and literally just now what's happening and everything else going on, disappointing enough as it is, because there's still a lot of questionable stuff that's been going on, for God's sakes, within this game, where it be patches and broken situations, the battle pass system, and just how the MMR goes with comp a lot. So it's a lot of confusing stuff. And I'm not going to be the best voice here on this situation. I'll state this. If you want to hear this out, go check out any big content creator out there that probably has played this a lot more than I do. They'll probably give you a better consistent thing than I do. But this is from my stuff, I will say. I'm just very disappointed in this. Very. I probably after Season 4 is out, I won't probably be streaming or playing or making content for this game any longer. I will be moving on back to like Dead by Daylight again, probably to get back on that, since the content's been getting exciting for that. I'll be figuring out whatever games I can kind of think of. So I don't know what will be for the future. So I got to figure that one out. But I will do my best I can to figure out what will be fun for me. And I hope the best the same for all of you guys, whether it be you stick around playing Overwatch 2 or you move on to another game. It's whatever you feel, guys. So keep working hard for that and keep figuring out Indeed. With that, I'm going to end there. That's pretty much the home run I can probably go for. My final thing I will say first to all the people who play this game and those who are dedicated, keep being awesome and keep enjoying the game if you want to as much as you want to. And if you feel like you can't play the game, don't play the game. Your choice. And to the devs, as much as I'll say this, I hope for the best that you guys will do the best you can to keep making the game better and do as much as you can to keep improving Overwatch 2. I know shit like this will happen, and this does happen anytime in development. But I hope for the best you can find a way to keep making up to it to the extent. Because with this happening, this promise that's now broken now, you better hope for the best that you can really work hard for it for sure to make up for it. Otherwise, you'll just lose a lot of your big player base as it is. But I wish you guys the best of luck with Overwatch 2 indeed. As for me right now with Overwatch 2 completely, I'm not completely quitting on it just yet. I'll still play it a bit. do a couple streams from time to time until season 4 is over. So stay tuned for that for sure. But for now, that's my thoughts on everything. Take care, everyone. I'll see you guys next time when the pizza bar is live. Like, it's live. Sorry. They see you next time when the pizza bar is live. And yeah, you guys take care. Keep on partying. Goodbye, my friends.